Hey guys, welcome to episode number 556. Today is Monday, so it's Update Monday, and today we're building a retaining wall on the back side of the greenhouse. So come along with me and learn how to be a better aquarist. Alright guys, and here is the finished product. We spent another full day out here in the back of the greenhouse by the pond working on this retaining wall, and I think it turned out really well. I think it adds a lot of character to the back of this system, and it's also extremely functional. This wall had to go in before the winter, because if it didn't, all of that earth, which was against the back side of this greenhouse, would have started to slump and the entire greenhouse could have started to become off level, falling sort of down this slope. So the retaining wall is now in. If you saw during the time lapse, I installed some gravel, tamped it down, got all of my blocks level, was able to build my first course, and then build all of the other courses on top of it. I did use some construction adhesive on the top level, specifically of the blocks, to make sure that they're nice and snug together. Now, these are the cheap blocks, but you know, for my purposes, they'll do just fine. And on the back side, they have a little bit of a lip which holds those blocks together and prevents them from sliding out. I think the construction adhesive is going to help to hold them together a little bit as well. But regardless, this wall is not a very large wall. These are only 4-inch tall blocks, and we've only got 4 of them stacked on top of each other. So it's not like it needs to be engineered or anything. It was just thrown up, and it should do just fine. Now, we did put a lot of gravel back behind these blocks, and that's to allow for drainage. And then we did do a little bit of ground cover with like some topsoil just to top it off. But the majority of the material that's on the back side of the blocks the entire way around is in fact gravel. And while I was at it, we did have a few leftover bricks, and so I was able to make a brick step here to sort of cover that single row of blocks, and also to give you a good step up and down into this pool or pond area. Fish are doing really well. It's starting to get cool out, and they're slowing down quite a bit. I have been feeding them this My Aquarium Box cool weather pond pellet. It's for koi and goldfish, and that just allows them to digest a little bit easier. It's what people recommend you feed when the fish are slowing down and getting ready for winter. Ideally, once they sort of hibernate completely, their gut is completely empty of everything that will allow them to have a much better chance of surviving the cold. Speaking of cold, though, it actually has been staying relatively warm. The water temperature, at least, it's been getting down below freezing at night for the air temperatures, but I do think the thermal energy and the thermal mass of just this amount of water is doing a good job at keeping this water relatively warm in comparison to the air temperature. So I still do have my water pump running. Now, I was away at the Aquatic Experience for a few days, and while that happened, my pump did start to slow down. When I got home, I noticed the flow was significantly reduced, and that was due to a lot of leaves that were all stuck to the net that's around the intake to that water pump. And these are the culprits here. We've got a bunch of oak trees in the backyard, and so plenty of leaves are getting into the pond. At some point, I may design some sort of net to put over the pond, but for now, I'm just scooping it out every day or every other day, and it seems to be doing okay. Some people use oak leaves instead of catappa leaves or Indian almond leaves in their aquariums. I haven't really tested that out yet, but I do know that oak leaves are quite a bit thinner than your catappa leaves, so they're probably going to break apart in about a week or so. But they do, you know, add tannins to the water. They look fine. I don't think they have as big of a benefit as almond leaves, and I certainly wouldn't want to have to clean up after it on a weekly basis, but we got plenty of those in the backyard. We've also got some plants in the ground around this retaining wall, and these were actually on sale. It's always nice to find plants on sale at the end of the season. It always seems like I'm buying things in the wrong season, but these are Sergeant's Juniper'S, and I believe they were like 75% off, so they were like $4 or $5 a piece, and these are the big ones. So I'm super happy with that. They do need quite a bit of light, so I don't think they're going to get direct sunlight for as many hours as they may like, but hopefully it all works out in the end. And the last little thing I picked up while I was at the store are these baby little Nana Juniper'S, and these things are absolutely beautiful. Again, they were 75% off, so I believe they were like $2, $2.50, something like that. Quite a steal. I mean, you're never gonna find something that cheap. And these have a ton of character, and I think what I'm gonna do is actually turn these into mini juniper bonsai trees. I've been wanting to do bonsai for quite a while. I did try it, I don't know, like 8 or 10 years ago. I wasn't very successful because I was still in apartments, and it's not really an ideal environment for bonsai. But now that I'm sort of situated here, I thought I would let these guys ride out the winter in the greenhouse undisturbed, and then in the springtime I take them out of their pots, put them in like a bonsai style pot, and then start to cut them in the spring and trim them up. I don't want to do it now because it's not fair to the plant. I don't think they would survive the winter. You want to give them every chance they can to survive. So I got 3 little bonsais in the making, and that's a project we will revisit in the spring, as long as these guys survive in the greenhouse over the winter, which I think they will. Anyways, guys, this is the retaining wall project. I think it turned out great. I think it looks awesome. There's more work we're gonna do out here, but this was the biggie. This is what had to happen before the winter hit. So I'm feeling good that this has all come together, and we're in a good place out here to start shutting things down. So I will be pulling the water pump. I will be installing an air pump and an air stone in here, and I'll start to reduce the amount of feed to the goldfish, and eventually they'll stop eating and they'll go down for the winter. So this is what we've accomplished this week, and again, I'm really tired, but I think it was all worth it. Alright guys, and that's gonna do it for this week's video. Again, it was a very long day outdoors in the cold, but we had to get this project done, especially considering the wet weather that's on the way, and the snow, and all of the coldness that comes with the winter. So the pond is all set, it's insulated, the retaining wall is in, the greenhouse isn't going anywhere. Now the last thing we have to do next week is to install our air pump, our air line, and our air stone, so that we have a system ready for the winter. We'll be pulling the water pump, we'll be turning the air pump on, and then we wait for 4, 5, 6 months, however long this winter decides to be, before these goldfish decide to start to wake up once again. We also have a challenge from Steve Poland Aquatics. Met him for the first time in person at the Aquatic Experience. Great guy. He came up to me and he had a challenge, and we will be talking about that and building it in next week's video. So stick around for next week's video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys later.